The world awoke on Easter Monday to a shocking news from the Vatican that Pope Francis, 266th leader of the Catholic Church, had died at the age of 88, just hours after appearing before thousands of faithful in St. Peter's Square for Easter Sunday celebrations. The pontiff, who had transformed the papacy with his humility and focus on the marginalized, return has Cardinal Farrell announced to the House of the Father. Today we explore the Pope's final words, the traditions surrounding a papal death, and how Francis, true to his character, changed many of these centuries-old customs. No one could predicted the sudden turn of events. Just 24 hours before his death, Pope Francis appeared before tens of thousands of Catholics gathering in St. Peter's Square for Easter Sunday Mass, though visibly frail and in a wheelchair. He blessed the crowds, wearing to the faithful as he was driven around the square, pausing multiple times to bless babies brought to him. His Easter message, delivered by an aide while he sat watching, called for peace in Gaza and Ukraine, condemning the great thirst for death seen in a global conflict. This will be his final public words to the world. Just hours later, at 7:35 a.m. local time on Easter Monday, Pope Francis died at the Vatican. The pontiff's health had been declining since February, when he was hospitalized for pneumonia in both lungs, a condition made worse by the partial lung removal he underwent as a young man in Argentina. Despite his struggles, few expected his death so soon after his public Easter appearance. BBC correspondent David Giglion described witnessing people running towards St. Peter's Square when the news broke, some openly crying in the streets of Rome. George Mario Bergoglio's journey to the papacy was unconventional from the start. Born in Bosnia to Italian migrants, feeling fascinated, he worked as a nightclub bouncer and chemical technician before joining the Jesuits. Rising through the ranks, he eventually became the first non-European pope in nearly 1,300 years, the first from the Americas, and the first Jesuit to occupy the throne of St. Peter. During his 11 years papacy, Francis redefined what it meant to be pope. He rejected the traditional papal apartment, choosing instead to live in the Vatican guest house. He washed the feet of prisoners, embraced the disfigured, and advocated fiercely for the poor migrants and the environment. His final Easter message embodied his life's work calling for freedom of religion, thought, and expression, while pleading for peace in conflict zones, and aid for steering people that aspire to a future of peace. The death of Pope triggers a series of careful choreographed, largely unchanged for centuries until Francis came. Traditionally, when a pope dies, the chameleon Chamberlain verifies the death by calling the Pope's baptismal name 3 times. When there is no response, the chameleon announces the Pope is truly dead. The Pope's fisherman's ring then destroyed, symbolizing the end of his authority. The body is typically embalmed within 24 hours and placed on a raised platform called a catapult in St. Peter's Basilica for public viewing. Traditionally, popes were buried in 3 nested coffins: cypress, lead, and oak, each symbolizing different aspects of the papal office. But Pope Francis, consistent with his lifelong simplicity, rewrote these traditions. He approved plans for a lesser elaborate funeral and burial. Instead of 3 coffins, he chose a simple wooden coffin lined with zinc. He also eliminated the tradition of displaying his body on a catapult opting, instead to remain inside the coffin than the lid removed for mourners to pay their respect. Perhaps most notably, Francis will be the first pope in over a century to be buried outside the Vatican, rather than joining his predecessors in the Vatican grotto beneath St. Peter's Basilica. Francis will be laid to rest in the Basilica of St. Mary Major, one of Rome's 4 major papal basilicas. This choice reflects Francis' deep devotion to Mary and his desire to remain connected to the people of Rome, even in death. The basilica sits in the heart of the city, accessible to all who wish to pay their respect. A fitting final resting place for a pope who constantly pushed the church to go beyond its walls and into the margins of society. As now of the Pope's death purge, tributes poured in from around the world. World leaders, regardless of faith or politics, recognized the profound impact Francis had on global affairs. These were the last things that Pope Francis did before he died. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also let me know what you think in the comment section. Share this video so that it can reach to a greater number of people. Thank you.